Something strange is happening inside the world of Monster. What started as a dark, haunting masterpiece that left us disturbed in all the right ways, now feels like it's slowly losing its bite. From the chilling depths of Dahmer's apartment to the confused tone of Ed Gein's graveyard of lies, fans are beginning to ask one burning question: is the Monster series getting worse? When Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, first hit Netflix in 2022, it didn't just break records, it broke people's comfort zones. The show was raw, suffocating, and disturbingly real. It wasn't just another true crime drama. It was a nightmare unfolding in slow motion. Evan Peters didn't play Dahmer, he became him. Every quiet blink, every awkward smile, every unsettling pause made you forget you were watching an actor. You felt trapped inside Dahmer's mind, and that was exactly what made it unforgettable. But beneath the surface of this haunting realism was something more, a tone so gritty and honest that it refused to romanticize evil. The camera didn't shy away from the horror. It didn't excuse it. It showed us the blood, the silence, and the heartbreak that came with every victim's story. The creators wanted you to feel disgusted, not entertained. And somehow, that honesty made the show terrifyingly powerful. Each episode peeled back another layer of Jeffrey Dahmer's life, his childhood, his loneliness, his manipulations, and finally his collapse. You could sense how his childhood shaped the monster he became, but the show never let you sympathize with him. It didn't ask you to understand him. It forced you to confront him. That's what made it work. The structure was also deliberate. Every episode gave voice to a victim, their lives, their dreams, their fears. The storytelling wasn't just about Dahmer's cruelty, it was about the real people he destroyed. And that's why it hit so hard. The tone was raw and human, not glossy or cinematic. You could almost smell the staleness of the apartment, feel the tension in every quiet dinner scene, and sense the unease in every neighbor's complaint. But the success came with controversy. Families of the victims said they were never consulted. People debated whether the show was honoring the victims or exploiting them. It sparked outrage, but it also sparked conversation. And for a moment, Monster wasn't just a show. It was a mirror held up to the darkest corners of human nature. Then came Monster, the Menendez brothers' story. The second season had big shoes to fill. It tried to dive into another twisted corner of American crime, two young brothers who murdered their parents. But something felt different. The rawness was gone. Instead of darkness and dread, there was color, gloss, and style. It looked beautiful, but that beauty came at a cost. The tone that once felt suffocating now felt cinematic, almost too clean. The show tried to make the brothers sympathetic, and maybe they were, to a point. They weren't serial killers like Dahmer. They were sons who claimed they were victims of abuse. The story turned into a courtroom drama more than a psychological descent. We weren't watching a monster unravel. We were watching motives being debated, lawyers making speeches, and emotions being justified. It was powerful in its own way, but it didn't have the same unsettling weight. There were moments that stood out. Yes, the brotherly bond, the breakdowns, the fear, but overall, it felt like the Monster series had started to lose its identity. It wasn't about facing evil anymore. It was about understanding tragedy. That shift in tone might sound good on paper, but it stripped away what made the first season unforgettable. By the time the Ed Gein story arrived, fans were hoping the darkness would return. The dirt, the discomfort, the deep psychological horror that made Dahmer impossible to look away from. But instead, the Ed Gein story walked a strange, confused line between history and fiction. The show began with promise, haunting atmosphere, eerie silences, and a sense of dread that made you think it would follow Dahmer's footsteps. But halfway through, it changed direction completely. Instead of staying inside Ed Gein's twisted mind, the show began exploring how his crimes inspired movies like Psycho and the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That decision shifted everything. It became less about Ed Gein, the real man behind the madness, and more about his legacy in pop culture. And while that might sound creative, it broke the emotional connection that the first season built so carefully. Viewers wanted to understand the psychology of the killer, not sit through a lecture about Hollywood horror. Even Charlie Hunnam's performance couldn't fully save it. He looked the part. He captured the numbness, the eerie calm of Gein's empty stare, but his soft, slow voice became a distraction. The performance felt off balance. It was like watching brilliance buried under creative confusion. And just like that, the Monster series, once known for its raw realism, began to feel like a ghost of itself. Somewhere between ambition and repetition, the Monster series began to lose its soul. What once felt like a brutal reflection of humanity's darkest truths started to feel like a polished reenactment. With each new season, the grit that made the first story unforgettable began to fade, like the light in a room slowly dimming until only shadows remained. In the beginning, Dahmer didn't just tell a story, it unfolded an experience. You didn't watch Jeffrey Dahmer. You endured him. Every frame was heavy with moral tension. Every silence carried guilt. But by the time Ed Gein arrived, the silence didn't feel heavy anymore. It felt empty. Instead of exploring the twisted psychology behind the crimes, the show started chasing creative angles that looked good but didn't mean much. And maybe that's the curse of success. When something explodes the way Dahmer did, studios start seeing potential instead of purpose. The first season was made to disturb you. The later ones were made to entertain you. The difference is subtle but devastating. The discomfort that once made viewers squirm now gave way to glossy cinematography, slower pacing, and scripts that seemed more focused on aesthetics than authenticity. The Menendez brothers season was the first warning sign. It tried to humanize its subjects, which isn't a bad idea on its own, but the tone didn't fit the brand. The title Monster carried a certain weight. It promised darkness, unease, something haunting. Yet what we got was a tragic story wrapped in bright lighting and courtroom drama. The storytelling forgot what made the word monster so terrifying in the first place. The feeling that you were staring into something that shouldn't exist by Ed Gein, that confusion turned into chaos. The tone shifted so many times that it felt like 3 different shows stitched together. One moment it was grim and unsettling, the next it was cinematic and symbolic, and by the finale, it felt almost surreal. A dance scene in the afterlife? For a show built on realism, it was a strange and jarring choice. It's as if the creators wanted to experiment, to evolve the format, but forgot that the series' strength came from simplicity, from making viewers uncomfortable with truth, not fantasy. Dahmer succeeded because it didn't have to exaggerate anything. Reality was already disturbing enough. The show didn't flinch, it didn't dramatize beyond reason, and it didn't try to justify its monster. It simply let the horror of reality speak for itself, but Ed Gein tried too hard to be clever. It added fictional characters, exaggerated events, and focused more on his influence on Hollywood than his actual psyche. Viewers could feel that detachment. The show no longer felt like a psychological study. It felt like an essay, well-written, well-acted, but emotionally hollow. Even the performances reflected that shift. Charlie Hunnam had the look, the eerie calm, the unshakable presence, but the writing gave him little to explore. We never truly entered Ed Gein's mind. We only hovered above it, peeking through cracks, never falling in. Compare that to Evan Peters as Dahmer, you could almost feel his thoughts bleeding through his eyes. That's the difference between performance and transformation. It's not that Ed Gein was terrible, it just wasn't monstrous. It didn't crawl under your skin or make you question your empathy the way Dahmer did. It felt safer, neater, and strangely distant. For a show that's supposed to make you feel disturbed, detachment is death. And that brings us to the real question. Why is this happening? Why does the Monster series, once so raw and fearless, now feel so lost? Some say it's creative fatigue. Others think it's the pressure to deliver something bigger each time. But maybe it's because the series forgot what made it powerful in the first place. It's humanity. The Dahmer season wasn't just about evil. It was about the consequences of neglect, loneliness, and a society that looked away until it was too late. It made us confront not just the killer, but ourselves. But Ed Gein? It made us think about movies inspired by a killer. It turned introspection into observation. And then there's the controversy, something that never quite leaves the series. From day one, Monster has walked a fine line between awareness and exploitation. The Dahmer season faced backlash for using real victim stories without consulting their families. The Menendez season reignited sympathy for two convicted killers. And Ed Gein? It blurred the lines between fact and fiction so much that audiences didn't know what to believe. Maybe that's the price of dramatizing reality. Every choice becomes a moral question. But even so, the balance once handled so carefully is now tipping towards sensationalism. The deeper meaning is fading, and all that's left is the shock value. Still, despite the criticism, the Monster series remains fascinating. Each season still sparks debate. People argue about ethics, art, and truth. That conversation, that discomfort, might just be what keeps the show alive. Because even when it stumbles, Monster forces us to look at humanity's worst and ask, why do we keep watching? And that's the power of this franchise, or at least what's left of it. But the question remains, can it recover its original darkness? Or has Monster turned into something it once promised never to become, a spectacle of evil instead of a study of it? Every great story faces a moment when it must decide what it wants to be, a legacy or a lesson. And for the Monster series, that moment is now. 3 seasons in, what began as a dark and daring dive into real-life horror is slowly becoming a cautionary tale about its own ambition. Fans once held their breath in silence, unable to look away from the cruelty and pain unfolding on screen. But now, they're sighing in disappointment, wondering where that raw, unsettling energy disappeared. The real tragedy isn't that Monster is bad, it's that it forgot how to be brave. The Dahmer story took risks. It didn't ask for comfort or applause. It dared to disturb its audience, and in doing so, it earned their respect. But now, instead of peeling back the truth, the newer seasons are polishing it. What was once haunting now feels rehearsed. What once made our skin crawl now feels like déjà vu. The sharp edges have been sanded down, leaving something smoother, but emptier. That emptiness can be felt in every creative decision. When Dahmer's story ended, there was closure. Dark, heavy, but complete. You could feel the finality, the echo of justice, the uneasy silence after horror. The Menendez season, however, left audiences uncertain. It wasn't clear whether we were supposed to condemn the brothers or pity them. The tone didn't challenge us. It confused us. And then Ed Gein arrived, trying to do both and ending up doing neither. It wanted to be psychological, cinematic, and symbolic all at once. But in trying to do everything, it forgot to feel like anything, and that's what's truly haunting about this franchise. The first season made us question morality. The third makes us question direction. Where does Monster go from here? Can it ever regain the raw, sickening authenticity that made it a phenomenon? Or has its monster heart been replaced by Hollywood machinery, pumping out fear that feels safe and calculated? The upcoming season, focusing on Lizzie Borden, could be its chance to rise again or fall for good. Lizzie's story, much like the Menendez case, sits on that uneasy border between murder and motive, guilt and sympathy. It's a delicate balance that Monster has already struggled with. If handled poorly, it'll just repeat the same mistake, turning real tragedy into stylized fiction. But if done right, it could remind audiences why they fell in love with the series in the first place. Its willingness to stare directly into the face of evil, without blinking, to succeed. The next season must return to what Monster once mastered, tension built from truth. It has to strip away the shine, the over-explaining, and the moral justifications. The real horror doesn't need special effects or poetic monologues. It lives in quiet realism, in the uncomfortable humanity of those who do the unthinkable. Dahmer worked not because it was shocking, but because it was honest. That's what the new seasons are missing, honesty. The show's creator, Ryan Murphy, has always been brilliant at painting darkness with beauty. But in the case of Monster, that beauty is starting to dilute the dread. The question isn't whether he can make it look good, it's whether he can make it feel real again. If the next season dares to return to simplicity, to the suffocating realism of season 1, it might just reignite what was lost. But if it continues chasing glamour and drama, it risks becoming the very thing it once condemned, a spectacle of violence masquerading as art. At its core, Monster isn't about murderers. It's about the cost of obsession, loneliness, and neglect. It's about how monsters aren't born in the dark. They're shaped by the world that ignores them. That truth is still powerful. It still matters. And that's what the franchise needs to remember. The audience doesn't need another killer. They need another story that makes them feel something real. The legacy of Monster hangs in the balance. Some fans will continue to defend it, others will move on. But deep down, everyone senses it. The thrill that once ran through the veins of this series is fading. The suspense has been replaced with expectation and the mystery with formula. Unless it finds its way back to its roots, Monster may no longer haunt us, it may simply bore you. So, is the Monster series getting worse? Maybe. Or maybe it's just becoming something else, something safer, something prettier, something less human. But if there's one thing this series has taught us, it's that monsters evolve. And perhaps, just perhaps, this one still has a few terrifying surprises left in its heart. Until then, one question lingers like a whisper in the dark. Was the real monster ever on screen, or was it always behind the camera?